Carbon rebates aim to offset the costs of carbon taxes for households. You've heard it before, and the government says most families get back more than they pay. Yet critics, including, I've said this again, the parliamentary budget officer himself, argue that many citizens end up paying more than they get back. Others argue that the rebates shouldn't exist at all. If the government is going to collect the tax, then it should all be used to invest into greener innovations. I know this is a hot topic, so what are our thoughts on the carbon rebates here? Go ahead.
I think they're preposterous.
It seems like we both don't like them, and you're conservative and you're liberal.
Yeah, so if you've got any good reason why they should exist, the whole program to me doesn't make any sense. So tell me.
So I'm not really popular with my opinion on this within the people in my inner circle. So this is what I'll say. I get it, but I don't get it. Because
is it a political?
It absolutely is.
It does seem
and I'll
like
say that on national television. It absolutely is. I'm not running for office, so I'll say it. Yeah. But my whole thing is, why are you taxing me to give me the money back? The $140 that I give to charity, by the way, every quarter, whatever it is, every quarter, I would rather you take my $140 and do infrastructure and do green energy investment.
What I'm curious about is, like, if more families get more back, then just cut the carbon price for families and then just make industry pay or super wealthy people pay. Like, it almost seems like that's how they're trying to position it.
It is and it isn't, because it's supposed to be neutral. Everyone's supposed to get their rebates. It doesn't have anything to do with how much money you make, right? So again, the whole idea is, like you said, I take your money and I give it back, except what I do is there's all this administrative cost in the middle. So basically the rebates are just to create government jobs. Didn't Trudeau already create enough, another 100,000 federal jobs? Direct federal workforce?
That could be stretching.
And by the way, this is not the opinion of me. This is the opinion of a former Liberal Prime Minister. So I'm not the one that's just saying this coming from my own thing. I get why the rebates are there. It's a way to sell the program to people. But I would rather have had a program where you still paid, which we do need. We need revenue. You want government run like a business? What do businesses need? Money. No, they do. So instead of keeping the price nominal and maybe not giving back all the rebates or maybe getting rid of it by 2/3, maybe that would have made this more of a saleable thing, and the feds could have kept the narrative that they lost. They lost the narrative on the carbon tax.
So do you think if we didn't have the carbon rebates, would the carbon tax be as hated as it was? Or I don't know if it could be...
Okay, he's going to say this, but I just want to get this in. It may not be as hated as much because the price would have been more nominal and affordable.
So you think the rebates... Wait. So do the rebates boost the cost of...
Of course they do, yeah, because I actually don't disagree with you. Okay. If they're only going to keep a few percentage points of the amount that they take from you, then why not just take that much to begin with?
I agree with you. Who says we can't agree on this? I would rather 100% of the money build infrastructure, research and development tax credits, investment tax credits.
My thing is, you already give them enough in tax dollars. Why give them more for this? It just doesn't make any sense. We're already one of the most taxed nations in the world.
Every policy in this country is flawed. This is, in my opinion, the biggest flaw. I'm sure there's other people within either liberals across the country or other progressives that disagree with me. I would rather not take your money and then give 2/3 of it back to you.
Okay, one thought, aside from the financial thing, what I'm trying to understand, I have a thought here, was, for example, if I was pushed to know that, hey, you get back more than what you put in, why would I go buy an EV car if it doesn't affect me financially? Because that's the whole point of the carbon tax, is to affect me financially, no?
Yes.
So I stop emitting so much carbon?
At the end of the day, I don't really think this is going to push people to be greener. I don't think it's going to have that effect because, again, most people can't make significant changes in their lives to actually contribute to this.
They can if the incentives are there. So you mentioned cap and trade in the previous segment about how it was dismantled. It wasn't even in there for a year. How do you get any data from a policy that hasn't been enacted for at least a year or more?
We already agree that it was pulled apart because of partisanship. We agree, because it is a good system.
But imagine the revenue, $1.5 billion a year we've lost. Imagine the incentives to buy an electric car, offset the cost, cover the HST. In Italy, pay for your car charger, pay for the solar panels, pay for the ampage on your amp system.
You get into the EV issue. First of all, they charge you way too much for them. And it still consumes energy from your home, which you're being taxed on. So it just doesn't track.
I wish we were doing an EV episode, but we're not. So
next time.
So I guess one of the things I'm trying to understand is, like, how, so if we didn't have the rebates, you guys are both agreeing from both sides of the spectrum here that it would be cheaper. It would cost citizens less.
Significantly. It would have to, right?
What was the carbon tax? $11 a ton. It went to like 21, 22, then people started squawking. Imagine if we kept it at $22 a ton or even 30 or 40. Yeah. It would have been less noticeable. The feds could have kept the narrative, and it would have offset a lot of that extra cost that you are going to probably see in the market.
We've made so many investments. We've made hundreds of billions of dollars worth of investments in the last 2-3 years alone on nuclear, hydro, wastewater treatment plants. we have the money for it, and it's being raised through the carbon tax. So who's to say that the rebates are?
It's not really being used. Not being
Costing
raised
us
through
so
it's not really
much.
being raised through the carbon tax. Again, if the federal government's narrative is true, 90% of it is going back to you in rebates, and 10% of it is going to disparaged communities and businesses. Even though they've still got a $5 billion fund, they haven't given
I've
to
got
the
to cut you
businesses.
off, but we'll get back more into it. We'll be right back. Thank you.